Hi there, John Moore here, and I'm a shamanic teacher from Maine, the state of Maine in the US. And today I'm going to answer the question, why is shamanism so attractive to artists? As somebody who's been practicing shamanism for a bit over, probably over a decade now, I guess, uh, there are many people in the circles in which I encounter shamanic people who are artists, musicians, writers, um, everything you can think of in the creative sphere. And there is there's quite a lot of evidence going back into prehistory of shamanic people creating art, a lot of cave art, a lot of Paleolithic stuff appears to be depicting shamanic trance, shamanic states, um, shamans themselves, shape shifting, things like that. So there does seem to be something that goes hand in hand with having creative thought, symbolic thought, and being attracted to shamanism. This isn't to say that all artists love shamanism and all shamans are artists. That's not necessarily true, but there is a lot of overlap. A lot of people who I know are shamanic are incredibly creative people. Why is that? Let me look at that. There's a few reasons why I think that is true. The first is that frequently shamanism involves depicting things that are happening in altered states of reality, right? So you can do what's called a shamanic journey, which is going into an altered state and traveling in spirit form and interacting with spirits, and just do that, and that's fine. But very often, it's helpful to be able to, draw something that you've seen or write it out. So there is a practical aspect. Coming up in my training, my teacher would have us draw all the time. Very frequently, she'd hand out black paper and we would use oil pastels to draw, which is a really great way of capturing things that are sort of otherworldly, that gives it a pop of light and that sort of thing. Personally, I paint. I had a painting in a show not that long ago, a few months ago, and went there, and there was somebody else who I knew from the shamanic community who also had a painting in the same exact show, just coincidentally. I know lots of people who are artists and shamanic practitioners in the small area where I live. I think people who gravitate towards having towards a creative lifestyle or having lots of creativity that they have, either you're not really born with creativity, but you can be, as far as I know, there's no creative gene, but you can be attracted to creative fields. It can be part of your makeup, part of what you're kind of born into. And people who do that tend to be divergent thinkers because creativity is nonlinear. It's right-brained versus left-brained. I know those distinctions don't make much sense neurologically anymore, but just using those terms loosely, it is more nonlinear, more type B than type A personality, that sort of thing. And that is, from a spiritual perspective, shamanism is animistic, meaning we see and interact with spirits, and things like time and space tend to break down when we are doing our trance work. And so having a nonlinear perspective is very, very helpful. Another thing I think that happens, although there needs to be some research on this, is that I think shamanic journeying actually creates new neural pathways. And the reason I think that is that we're learning a lot about neuroplasticity as time goes on, as more research is done. And things like changing your brainwave state the way that shamans do, in a very unique way, I think will be shown to create new neural connections that don't happen kind of any other way, that open up new avenues for creativity. for people. So there is that as well. So um, a lot of artistic people will be attracted to the non-linear nature, the experimentation with consciousness, the experience of, if you're a visual artist and you are very visual when you do a shamanic journey, um, the scenery can be absolutely breathtaking, amazing, you know, otherworldly is it one term that we use. And so I do think that it can open things up for people who are artists. And you know, traditionally, going back as far as, like the Renaissance, people like Leonardo da Vinci, for example, didn't really fit in with the crowd, so to speak, fit in with the growing culture. They were sort of not necessarily directly opposing the culture of the day, but sort of didn't, sort of outsiders as well. Even though Da Vinci spent time in court and spent time in living in very wealthy people's homes with patrons and all of that sort of thing, took part in the culture, but was also apart from it. That's a very shamanic thing in many cultures. Shamans are expected to live in multiple worlds at once. We have one foot in ordinary reality, 3D time-based, space-based reality, and another in the spirit world. And so being that kind of makes you outside, a little bit of an outsider. That's not something that most people have everyday experiences with. So I think there are ultimately a lot of reasons why artists are attracted to shamanism, and also why shamanism opens people up to become more creative, to become more artistic, that sort of thing. So with that, I will leave you. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I will talk to you very soon.